Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the WiX Online Meeting 292, the second month, the 26th day. These 28 day months, February being the only one, always make the calendar interesting when we talk about the next month. But we're going to talk about the calendar a little bit because of confusion that I created. Anyway, very glad to have the chat with us here today. Bob's with me. This meeting is recorded for the rest of you that weren't with us right here, right now. Let's get into what we're talking about today. Hey, if you're here, say hi. Bert and Ron, great to have you guys here. Number one, I'm going to clarify the WiX Online Meeting time. Just again, because it's moved, and then we moved it again for this week, and then we're going to get it all sorted out here. So I just want to make it very, very clear what time it is. I'll talk about the changes that we did do from the last meeting. Last meeting, we talked about a whole bunch of things we were going to do. We'll talk about having done them all and where we're at with that. I then want to talk about the open source maintenance fee. If you haven't heard of it, that's okay. It launched today, but we're going to talk about it and what it means for WiX. And then we'll do the triage and WiX v6 review like we always do during this time period when we're doing a WiX release. And there's quite a few issues. So let's go ahead and get this meeting going. Save your questions, queue them up, have them ready for when we get the questions, comments, so that we can talk about them there. All right, so number one, WiX Online Meeting time. Today, we slipped this meeting 1 week because there's just so many things going on last week, which we'll talk about in the next slide, to the fourth Wednesday of February, that is the 26th, that is today, at 11 a.m. I'm sorry, there was a couple places where we did say 10:30, and it probably was supposed to be 10:30, and then I started writing 11 a.m. everywhere. So very glad a bunch of you made it with us here. This one's at 11 a.m., this one's a week late. Don't worry about this meeting. February has a weird number of days in it. The actual new meeting time is the third Wednesday at 10:30 Pacific time. So that means the next meeting is March 19th at 10:30. All right, so third Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. I'm definitely not going to try to turn that to your time zone because I clearly make mistakes with times. I'm sorry. March 19th, 2025 at 10:30 will be our next meeting. We'll send out announcements and things around, and we'll try to keep them all in sync. All right, cool. Let's talk about all the stuff that happened in the last little bit, because there's a bunch of things that happened in February that necessitated us moving this meeting back a little bit this month. All right, so first thing, WiX 3 and WiX 4 are out of community service. Bob pointed out to me it was kind of funny that V4 went out the day earlier than V3. That's just kind of the way that we announced them and the timing of them. That was fun. If you need extended lifecycle support, FireGiant can do that. You can go talk to them. Go look at firegiant.com. They have a whole bunch of stuff about that. WiX v6 RC1 also released. Yay. That's supposed to be a v6-rc.1. I don't know what I typed there. And everything looks pretty good, pretty typical. The download numbers are kind of 100 across the XE and the SDK, which just seems 500, which seems to be pretty typical going back in other time. And things are looking all right for WiX v6 RC2, which will be on the 5th of March. I didn't write that down here. I should have. So that's only like a week away. But everything's looking pretty good for that, and we will go over the issues and talk about them after all this section. Also, the WiX documentation has moved to docs.firegiant.com, so you can see all of them there. The redirects from wixtoolset.org to docs.firegiant.com are looking good. We're hunting down a few links inside docs.firegiant.com as we find them. There's a couple shifts in the way pages reference each other, and we've been running down those bugs. So we're fixing those pages. They're all there. We just have to get the links between some of the pages sorted out. So that's been successful, moving from wixtoolset.org over to docs.firegiant.com. Okay, so those are the changes that we did. Those are the things that are done. And WiX 6 RC2 is coming up next week. Right, Bob? Wow, next week. Yeah. Ooh, all right. Like a week from today. Am I doing that math right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's just been wall-to-wall things going on here. All right, so the big thing that I want to talk about today is the introduction of the open source maintenance fee. This is a new initiative that I've been discussing with many people and have finally launched today. An attempt to make to improve the sustainability of open source projects. It's a You could go read more about it on opensourcemaintenancefee.org, but the kind of high level bullet point of it is that if you're a commercial user, then there's a small monthly fee to use the project, the binary outputs and the issues and things like that of a open source project, and you pay that via the GitHub sponsors. So the plan is that WiX 6 will adopt this maintenance fee, and we will have a formal announcement with all the details sent to discussions, because there's not as many people that watch these videos that are here. We'll put it out there to start collecting all the feedback about how we're going to introduce a small fee for the binary outputs. So if you go to opensourcemaintenancefee.org, it has, I was just talking about a video before this, has a video that talks about all the ins and outs, the details, the whys and the whats, and the hows, and we will put in the formal details on how the WiX toolset will adopt that in the next few days and get that posted to discussions, because there's more people that see that than here. So that's coming. I know there will be lots of questions about this. I'm sure there are going to be many questions. So if those of you in chat, we can have back and forth here during questions and comments, please, because I want to get through the issues. We could talk about it here, or you can read about it, and then we can have all the talk about it on discussions, because I know there are going to be lots of people that are going to talk about it. But it's coming for WiX 6. All right, so that's the changes that are going on. The open source maintenance fee coming for WiX 6, RC2 coming for next week. And that means we need to do triage and V6 review to see how we really are doing, and if my feeling that we're actually okay is true, because we actually have quite a few issues open to triage today. So Bob, you ready for us to go look at that very long list of issues? Oh, very long list. It's a decent list.
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not? All right, here we go. Triage. Woo! All right, issues. Start at the top. Pending file and rename entry is present after burn exit. This was a pull request. Oh, sorry, number 8053. This was a pull request that went in and was fixed. So I think this issue just got, did it come in after the meeting? No, this was open a long time ago. Why did I mark it triage? Oh, to get scheduled for the proper release. So Jan 15, I don't know why it's still marked triage, because it's done and got the PR all taken care of and all that kind of stuff. All right, I don't know why this is triage. This is in for WiX 6, and it's cool because Ben Perret, I don't know, Ben Peretz, oh, Peretz, there's a Z, tracked down where Burn was writing forcing a move file operation on itself due to some ordering. So this is a good catch. Anyway, so we just removed triage. That's all set. It's on RC1. Actually, if you've used RC1, you've already seen the benefit of that bug. All right, 8685, increased build parallelization. Bob, this is yours. This is old. All right, this is the old one, and you're coming back to talk about it. Yes, the timings are here.
Yeah, I started to do the work. The goal for this was to get rid of the batch files that we use in the build.
Yeah.
We use many, many of them, even more than the number of quote-unquote segments we have.
Really?
And it's just how we drive things.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that means that there's not a lot of parallelization, but there's still a lot of stuff to build. So the build is, way longer than it has to be. So I've done a few of the segments, hitting the longest running tests for two reasons. One, because the tests are things that can run in parallel.
Mm.
Not perfectly, but it's a start. But second, because MS Test, which I switched to as part of this work, has much better parallelization opportunities than XUnit does. So for example, just by converting to MS Test and turning on method level test parallelization, the core integration unit tests run about twice as fast. You might hope for more than twice,
Whoa.
but
Okay. Oh, the core integration. Okay. All right.
sorry, yeah, core integration unit tests.
Yep.
Which is like standard custom actions.
Yep.
So I wrote down some timings. Roughly 10 plus minutes without this work, by converting just ext, which has like, I don't know, 10 12 extensions, and then tools, basically it dropped by 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I took on converting the WiX segment solely to convert from XUnit to MS Test, because it had the minute plus long running core integration unit test. And so, yeah, that brought it down another, 45 seconds roughly. The build timing is really inconsistent, and I don't like that, but it has been the case since WiX 4.
Discs will do that to you, right?
Which
discs? Like, don't the hard drives do that to you?
hard drive? What is
Well, okay, you're right. Solid state drives. I don't
It's
know.
all SSD. There's no,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I can't explain some of the big differences, but some of them are just way outliers. So I ran them 3 times.
So clearly, this is all goodness. The question is, when do we go forward with this work?
Yeah. Now we are at the point where this covers all of the low-hanging fruit. It
Okay.
does not include the full traversal project implementation. Frankly, it's non-trivial to do that because we have the batch files, and therefore we have used and abused the batch files.
Yeah.
So getting to a pure MS build is going to take some work, and the remaining segments don't take that long to build.
Right.
Now, if we achieved full traversal project, then there would be some really significant wins, mostly because the tests are always downstream, right? You build everything and then you test it. You can interleave packing in there a little bit, but again, downstream. So the current approach still treats things like ext and tools as segments that everything must complete before them, and they must themselves complete completely, and then moving on to the next. So in ext, for example, there are 2 long-running, the individual extensions. There are 2 of those extensions that have unit tests that take at least 30 seconds, and you can try to get those tests started earlier, but at the end of the day, it's still gonna it's gonna run at the end. So if we did a full traversal project build, those tests could be running while you moved on to the next segment. There wouldn't be segments. ext could be running tests while the next segment ran.
Yeah. The challenge with that has always been, if we break up the tests that way, then sometimes it can make it harder to test just one small unit if you want to iterate in that one small space.
No.
You think MS Build will be able to like just pull these other projects out and have them float much later if everything is MS Build?
If everything's MS Build, then it all comes down to the project references that determine the build order.
Mhm.
There's still going to be tests that run after everything else. That's
Yeah.
that's inevitable. It doesn't seem to matter. MS Build, as far as I can tell, is kind of topping out at about 16 cores on my machine that has 24 of them. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure, but there's always going to be some that run at the end. But the advantage of the traversal project is, inside a directory like ext, you have a traversal project for all of ext. So you can run, those tests. You can run that project, build everything, and test everything, and you're done. You go up a level, and your traversal projects are going to traverse down into the ext traversal project recursively forever and ever. And again, the tests are downstream of everything in that segment. So yeah, they'll other things can run while those are running.
Okay.
As long as the project references are all satisfied, which they are, because we don't have project references that go outside segments except where we do, and that was a problem.
Oh, yeah, that sounds bad. It must be test infrastructure that we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see us doing that with test infrastructure. So do you have a feeling, do we wait for post WiX 6 to bring this change in? Or are you like, no, it's solid. Let's bring it in for WiX 6 RC2 because it's just build process. Everything's the same. We could just take it. I don't know which way to go.
The latter. There's no reason to wait.
Okay.
We're almost done, so it doesn't really matter. For example, I did work in the HTTP extension, so it would have been nice to not do that, given that the pull request for this issue obviously touches the existing HTTP extension.
Sure.
So I'll have to redo that, but I would have to redo that anyway. So
one way or the other.
I don't have strong feelings, but hey,
right.
I'm curious to see if on the official build, on the GitHub Actions build, I will say official because I don't care about the signing. In the PR builds I've had for this, there's not a measurable speed up, but I'm curious to see if, as we accumulate more runs, are we going to start seeing, start to see a better build perf.
All right. So you want to put this in RC2 and go from there?
Yep.
All right. Don't break anything. No. This sounds good. I'm curious to see what I get because my build on my machine is like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how your times translate to my times, and do I get any parallelization like you do?
Well, you'll definitely get, because you have even beefier cores than I do. But the 15-minute build was consistent with another workstation that has relatively slow individual cores. So that the MS test part of this, which it wasn't strictly necessary, but really solved a lot of problems when it came to the traversal project, will help because you'll get more parallelization within within the builds.
Well, I think my disks are slower, but I have 48 procs, so I guess we'll see which way it goes, huh?
Right.
All right, cool. All right, well, let's see how it goes. I look forward to seeing this on the other side of the CI system.
Okay.
All right. Defer removal of upgrade-related bundles until next session. I have not had a chance to just sit down and look at this at all, but it is still very much on my list. So we'll just leave it for triage because I should get it by next one. One more time. If not, then we'll pull it out and I will go take it offline. That's where it suck. Okay. I don't know about this new GitHub behavior. Like, I feel like I'm getting lots of floating things because they have this stuff triggering off my mouse cursor now. All right. 8882 came back as someone else's issue too, right? Someone actually hit
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So I put this back into triage to remind myself to talk to you. You objected to a second resolution pass.
Yeah, I'm really worried about
And
that because there's been lots of nasty bugs, really nasty bugs that can be in there and running it. It was never intended to run twice, so I was like, I've run down really bad bugs. I don't know what it would be like if it ran twice.
right. And since I
Yep.
put this back in the past month, I've not spoken to you about it. So yeah,
Okay.
it's not going to happen. But yes, in the meantime, someone has opened a bug
Okay.
describing this behavior.
So should we try to fix it in 6?
I suppose that it means you and I need to sit down and look at it
Yeah.
and figure out if there's a.
Yep.
This is why I have this issue open and assigned to me,
Right.
to have that discussion, and it
Yep.
didn't work yet. But
Yep. And I've been unavailable and extremely busy for the last week plus.
Yep.
So, but that's now over. It's tomorrow, and so we could probably find time to talk about this. So I was looking at the question of how hard you. So we should take a look at it in RC2. Well,
given
we'll leave it
that
triage. If we need to talk about it, then we'll show up and decide.
Yeah.
Okay. Which way, if we can figure it out, I assume you'd like to take it in RC2.
Yeah. So this is because someone found the bug.
Yeah.
I consider it a pretty serious bug. It's not as serious as this new issue suggests, because it's only a problem within a compilation unit. So it does not extend to across files. It doesn't extend to Wixlibs. So it's not the scope is not unbounded, but I think it's a pretty serious bug.
All right, let's talk about it. We'll try to figure out how we get this in RC2.
Okay.
I'm more interested in this bug than the one that I'm going to be punting out of WiX 6 here in a minute. So we'll talk about that in a moment.
Okay.
All right, so that was 8882 without even going into it because I knew what was coming. All right, 8914 hardened burned bootstrapper application elevated engine extraction and elevated engine extraction. What a title! Who wrote that? I did.
Yeah.
Oh, Martin, welcome. Great to see you. Long time no see. Awesome. I have good news for you. My son's working on a video that you're gonna like too. We're just talking about my son working on videos. Anyway, good stuff coming here in a little bit. All right. Anyway, this is another good thing. A Fire Giant customer. Did we talk about this one already? We already talked about this one last week. Why is it still triage? Didn't we talk about this? I feel like we talked about this. January 21. I guess we couldn't have talked about it if I opened it on January 21. All right. I'm going to talk it again if it's a repeat of last month. Sorry. A lot has happened in the last 4 weeks, so I am 5 weeks. A Fire Giant customer pointed out that my very long understanding of the way that you can create process on files that are locked for read-only was wrong, and you can actually do so, which meant that there was an improvement we can make inside Burn to harden the file, where we could harden Burn by locking files and holding them after we have extracted them to reduce the window by which an attacker could get in there and swap them, which is one of the favorite things that security researchers like to tell us today, that, hey, I can swap this file out, we got you. And of course the answer is you don't, because the UAC prompt, if you swap it out, the UAC prompt changes, and that's what is protecting us today in the end. But we could do better if we could lock files and create process them. And it turns out you can. You can do that. I was wrong. Customer said, hey, why don't you guys do this? And ran a test, and it turns out you could. So we implemented it. We have brought this feature into Burn. This has 2 benefits. One, it makes it much harder to attack the burn extracted file locations, which is just a good thing. Making that harder is always a good thing, given that it's kind of the favorite attack vector of the world. So making that more and more robust is a good thing. It has a secondary benefit in that we have had reports from other Fireshine customers that if the user deletes their temp folder, you can delete files out from underneath burn before it use them, or a bundle, Bootstrap application needs some files. The user could delete them out of their temp folder, and that makes really bad futures for the Bootstrap application. So by locking all these files, the user can't delete them. They're there until the burn process finishes, and then it deletes them all after itself. So this is great. This is a great change. And it was technical, but not too bad. The downside of it, and which is why we need to do it on a major version, and we can't backport this to previous versions, is that locking the files means the files are locked. So if anybody wrote a Bootstrap application where they plan to modify the file, one of the files that was extracted for some reason in place, that's going to be broken now. So you have to copy the file and then you can modify it. You cannot modify the files that come out of burn. And I was like, who would do that? And then it turns out that some very clever people in our integration tests, not me, wrote a test where we actually manipulate like the application config files to create all kinds of failure cases for .NET applications or .NET Framework applications. And so that drove me batty for a while trying to make those tests be a thing because, well, now we protected against people from modifying the .NET XE config, which you would never do except if you want to write a test that caused things to fail, which is what the test was doing. Anyway, that made this thing more exciting.
Payloads, right?
Yeah, this is all about the payloads that were extracted.
Okay.
So, yeah, the tests were modifying their payloads of the BA to then cause the BA to fail inside the internal UI handler and those kinds of things, the prereq handler. So, I mean...
It's certainly rare, but it's not completely insane to play with those files.
Not complete. No. I could understand why somebody would be doing that. They will be broken. They will be unhappy in WiX 6, and they will have to change their code in WiX 6 and beyond because the benefits far outweigh.
For sure.
And so there you go. So to all those people that hit that, sorry, but hey, this is a much better feature, and most people are going to be much happier about this. Including FireGiant customer. So that's the big things. So anyway, this is done. It's in WiX 6 RC1. You've already experienced it if you've been using WiX 6 RC1. Yeah, that was a fun one. Not as much fun as what Bob did. No, this was more fun than what Bob did. I think. I'm going to claim that. Anyway, Bob's going to talk about his in a minute. All right. 8920, support harvesting companion files using glob patterns. Oh, I remember this. Right, so... they want to use this is a long thing. They use style sheets inside Heat to do a whole bunch of manipulations, and now they want to do something crazy for companion files and globbing. He's updated with new approach. Yeah, so that you could do companion file globbing and then all that stuff.
This is specifically because some people, including people who should know better, like Microsoft, are taking advantage of, or are hallucinating that the NuGet package version is what matters,
right?
And not the file version on the files.
Yep, right. And some of their files downgraded. The file version's downgraded, and MSI does not like downgrading files.
It really does not.
No, it really
does not.
Yeah. So I understand why they have this problem. We're not doing this. You can do the excludes and then use the file and that kind of thing. So you don't need a companion file, a gazillion files, just the ones that are broken. Although that's really crazy to do as well. So
that's the big problem. I mean, I understand the problem.
This just leads you down the wrong path in so many different ways.
But at the end of the day, it's like this is treating the wrong problem so that it can be solved in setup.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yep. But no, not this. So thank you, but no. Definitely not like this. You have to do something else. All right. 8932, compilation fails due to invalid enabled for element firewall exception.
Yeah, so this is something that was added to WiX 5.
Oh,
The documentation does not point that out.
okay. So this is a doc book. We should fix that then, right? Yeah, we should note the version in doc. Yeah, yeah. We need to do that. Yep, we should do that. Yep.
Okay, is this
Because
something we should? I don't know.
yeah,
Given the move of
yeah.
documentation
Give
to
it to me. I
docprofilecounts.com.
haven't got that I haven't sat down. I haven't run through that process yet. Give this to me in vFuture because I probably won't get it in 6RC2. And I will. This will be like on my list of things to look at as soon as we finish a lot of the 6 stuff. But yeah, we need to get this right. So we
Okay.
have the functionality in the doc site to specify what version things are in, but we don't
Right.
have a good way of getting the source data to do that, and we need to do that. So that all needs to get fixed. All right,
Okay.
cool. Yeah, give this to me so I can make sure I remember to do that. Excuse me. All right, I thought I was gonna sneeze there, but all right. So enabled is a firewall exception feature in WiX 5, and that's why it didn't work. All right. Wix repo contains binary artifact that should be generated from source 8935. Yes, that's bad. We should definitely fix this. This probably came from the ancient Wix 3 repo tests. Yeah, because it has like candle.exe and some random things in it that are exes. Yeah. And I don't care about these fake exes. But yeah, we need to get the custom action fail re-implemented. You can give this to me, Bob, if you don't want it. Like if you wanted to go pick it up, but I'll take it otherwise because I do want to get rid of these binaries. So we don't have people. The reason this came up was because Bevan dropped in some binaries that I missed amongst the whole of the other changes, and I was like, we should not be taking binaries into the source code. We should build the stuff that we need to build. That's where this came from. And so he did a nice thing and went and found a few others. I was like, oh wow, I did not realize we had these from these old tests integration stuff. So yeah, go ahead and give this to me, and I will go hunt them down to go figure out what that exe was for too. It's just another thing. We don't know what this all the different things the exe can do. So you need to go look at that test and figure out why it exists and what it needs to do. So all right. Although I probably could go back to Wix 3
like
code.
Future?
Yeah, vFuture. It doesn't have to happen in Wix 6 right now. It's just the timing is going to get crunched here for a little bit, so it's not the highest priority, but definitely do not want to lose it at the beginning of 7 kind of thing. 8939. Default feature attempts to include components defined in unreferenced fragments. That is the same issue that 8882 hits. So these two are basically the same issue. And we are going to talk about that because someone hit it. So we should talk about that. And Bob's right. All right. Util extension user group extensions test do not clean up on failure. Yes. So while doing the work for the hardening of burn, I came across some tests that if a failure happened, did not clean up after themselves, and created a cascading of unit test failures of integration test failures. So one thing would fail and then you'd have like 30 tests that would all fail after it, which is extremely frustrating to hunt down. So once I found that and fixed it. So this is actually a bug I opened and then fixed myself all in one go as part of all that. So this is fixed and good and gone. And there's a little bit of a story of things behind the scenes that maintainers do while just trying to make progress on everything else, fixing the tests that failed all over the place. So now we have this integration test can change common object fails intermittently. Right. So this then was the test that was failing. That was causing all the cascading failures. And I added a skip for it. And yes, and then Bevan was looking at this, which is good, to try to get it. So this is going to be skipped in probably Wix 6. Oh, I put it in RC2 to look at it. And then he asked a question about getting log files for the MSIs, which aren't grabbed today, I guess.
I thought they were.
I don't know.
We had this
I didn't implement
ridiculous
all this.
500 meg log
Yeah.
file zip. I thought that was part of the reason why.
Yeah, I didn't do all this, so I haven't got deep into it. It's one of those areas to be like, yeah, I'd really like to streamline this, but who has the time? I guess I have to answer. I don't know. I don't have the answer to Bevan's question. If we don't grab them, yes, it would be good that we should. That would be great. Only 4 skipped. Yeah. I don't know what to do with this right now. This is a new test, I think. That's getting skipped. That only fails on the CI machines. I haven't been able to reproduce it locally either.
Well, that's always fun.
Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah.
I'm assuming this is not like blocking for WiX 6.
It is not blocking, unless we're worried that there's a bug inside this code that this test is, finding that we're ignoring in WiX 6. So it would be the test, changes the comment on a group, and a lot of that group functionality is the new stuff in WiX 6. But again, it all passes locally. So I don't know. Doesn't happen all the time.
So it turns out the burn integration tests do gather up all of their logs.
Yeah, but the MSI ones don't.
Apparently.
Yeah, that's sad.
I don't know off the top of my head how big a deal it would be to get
all right.
those logs.
So you can leave a comment. No, they do not. It will need a change to make them do so. That change would be generally a good thing too. And then go from there.
I'll take this and see if I can
get the log
add
files
those
out
logs in
cool.
a time box period of time.
That generally would be a good thing on top of everything. So
yeah.
All right. I wouldn't hold WiX 6 for it. Worst comes to worst, there's a bug in the comment feature and the new group feature. We'll fix it in the future, kind of thing. We'll go from there. All right. 8943. Is anybody using WiX Toolset V6 RC1? Yes, several people are. This person has hit an issue due to a breaking change in Visual Studio that the fine folks at FireGiant have been working on for quite a while now, given the cascading of things that have come from all those changes and nice long conversations with Visual Studio team. So anyway, this is known. This is external. This is off there. There's actually another issue in the FireGiant world tracking this. So I think that's probably the place to send this bug.
Yep, I agree.
All right.
It's just coincident. It's coincidental that WiX 6 RC1 and Visual Studio 17.13 came out around the same time.
That's correct. Both of those created a crunch that made a mess of a whole bunch of things. That's correct. So, yeah. Yep. All right. 8944. Sign bundle not executed. Really?
I don't think that's correct.
That would mean that our WiX additional tools is not signed correctly.
And it is.
Okay.
So
you asked for a log file.
I asked for a log file 2 weeks ago. There's been no response.
I'd say.
I think
this is a works for us, needs more information.
Yep.
All right. 8947. There's no class or API like unbinder, CBS of WiX 3 and WiX 5 to extract the files from the bundle while the bundle's running. We've never provided such an API. And the fact that this worked in Wix 3 is kind of kooky. And the fact that they're running it while the bundle's running is even bonkers, more bonkers. So, yeah,
Well, it doesn't.
no.
It's not necessarily that it's self-extracting, although I imagine that's what is happening. Um, but you can build. This is just a change in Wix 4, right? The Wix 3 model was Wix DLL includes everything and it's all public and have fun.
Well, it's all, no, not have fun. It's all public because it had to be given the way that we structured the
Well,
tooling. So it wasn't like, yeah, use this stuff. In fact, we never said, yeah, use the things out of Wix DLL. It
well,
was
you
never,
did say that. You did say that by
when.
making it public.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
No,
Anyway,
but yeah, no. So yeah, we don't. The nice thing about NuGets at this case, at least, is that we can publish the things we want to publish and not the things that we don't want to publish. Like we don't publish the core things inside Wix. We don't publish this whole space anymore, which means we can share it amongst ourselves without saying, "Hey, here's a public NuGet you could use." Doesn't exist. So anyway, this is not a thing. It's not an API. It never was an API. It should contain the same API function. It wasn't an API. You use some internal use of the Wix toolset. You can go hack it again if you want. But yeah, no. Don't do that. If they had said they were doing that in Wix 3, we'd have been like, don't do that. That probably won't work. And they're like, well, we're going to do it anyway. I'm like, great. You may get broken in the future. Guess what? They're broken. All right. 8958, support install time bundle scope. This would be cool. This has been a long time coming. Do we need to go over the design of this right now? Or can we save it for later? I assume you're not trying to slip this into Wix 6.
what? No, I'm not.
Okay, you scared me for a minute. I'll give you that. Good job.
You're welcome.
I was like, no way.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
I mean,
cool. No way.
we can. I mean, we can leave it if you want to talk about it next month, or just
Yeah, I
take
want
it
to talk about this
now.
month
And
only because of time. Only because there's
yeah, sure,
so many
sure.
other
Okay,
things. But I
no, that's
definitely
fine.
want to talk about this. Plus, it'll be a little closer to Wix 7 at that point, and we might soon have a branch after that for 7.
Right.
Maybe? No? I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not, actually. We're not going to get that far ahead of 6. All right. Anyway, yes, I'm very interested to talk about this. This has been a long time coming, so it'll be a great thing to have. We should talk about all the details.
Yep. Okay.
Install trusted publish certificate error 26352. That's access denied, I think. Oh. Wow, Rob, good reading. 8959 issue. Wix 311 2. Don't care. Don't care. Yeah, 5. Yeah, see, you don't care either. Yeah, don't care. If it happens in Wix 5, we could look at it, or we'd be interested, but don't care
I would
about
leave
Wix
this
3.
one open for another
Fine. When did it come in?
round.
When did
2
it come?
days.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll save it for another. They could try it Wix 5 and we'll do it again. Yeah. 2 days is not enough time for them to have tried to move it all to Wix 5 necessarily and do everything. So I understood. I think it's another one of those. 8961. Some application from Azure MFA, whatever, is not adopting the things. Oh, wait, they're using 5 this time. Okay.
They're using 5, yes.
And
I
thought
was ready
5
to.
did the theme util thing.
Well, it does. It
Oh.
turns out ThemeUtil now uses DPI, per monitor DPI even. Very nice, very modern. There is, however, another setting. And
of course there is.
this other setting is what they're expecting to work. And there's just zero effort involved in that.
You mean
It's in ThemeUtil. ThemeUtil doesn't do anything
try.
like that. And to be fair, not much does.
Oh.
This is completely separate from the DPI setting.
Oh.
So I like it because I have old person eyes. But it's amazing. Very, very few apps that I use, including Visual Studio, by the way, actually support it or seem to react to it. Now, the downside is that there's a lot of places that, including Visual Studio, that give you a lot of control over how the UI appears and let you set font sizes and everything. So you could argue that those things are blowing up the default settings that you get from this particular Windows setting. But
so do we put this in accessibility and move on?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, cool. More DPI work, or sorry, scaling work. I don't want to call it generically. Yay, someone could go and do that. Cool. Woohoo. All right. I this is those the Microsoft guys who say, hey, we ran this scanning tool, didn't think we're gonna dump the bug on Wix. We're like, all right, you guys can keep doing that. Don't care.
Well, that way they can close their bug as external.
Yes. I wonder if we closed our bug as external, what they would do. Like, we closed our bug external. They closed the bug external
Well, it doesn't
too.
matter.
That bug just went
Opening the
away. It's like,
bug,
that's right. That's right.
all they need to do is open the bug, and they've met their own internal requirements.
That's true.
So,
All right. So this one, package with other, 8962, package with other dependents not uninstalled despite BA request to force uninstall. So you install a bundle, you don't do the optional package, you install the optional package standalone. Okay, so that means it gets its own reference count. Then you uninstall the bundle, you request a forced absent from the BA, and it will not take out the optional package, which is arguably the right thing. I don't know.
oh, I was under the assumption that this would get triggered. Oh, I see the problem. Okay. I was under the assumption that this would happen even if you used a bundle.
Even if you used a bundle. Oh, no, if the optional package was not installed standalone, it would not get a separate reference count, and therefore it would be cleaned up. That's all that works. The trick here is, though, the user went off and installed it standalone. So the idea being the user chose to install it standalone, therefore they want to control the lifetime of it, and that's Burns behavior. So the assumption here is that force should ignore that for optional packages. I mean, that's the assertion in this bug. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, and if a package doesn't have all the dependency stuff wired up.
Well, these are bundles, so that should be all right. Right?
Well, you can have a package that doesn't have any dependency information in it, just what Burn manages for its own reference counting.
Yeah.
I'm curious if things would play better if that optional package had the dependency stuff wired in. Yeah, no, that's actually really interesting.
I mean, the fundamental question is, should force absent remove optional packages even if they were installed standalone?
Yeah, see, I want to argue that it should, just because the idea of separately shipping an MSI that otherwise would integrate in is not uncommon. But I hadn't really considered that scenario. And Martin brings up a very good point. If why, just because it could be included in the chain, if Burn didn't install it, should it be uninstalled?
No, this is an optional bundle. Oh, install the optional package. Wait, sorry.
Optional bundle
install
package.
The bundle, opt out to install the package. Install the optional package standalone, not from the bundle. Oh, this is all package. Sorry, I thought this was optional bundle. Create a bundle installs an optional bundle package.
An optional package in the chain. A package in the chain with a
not an optional bundle. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you install the package standalone. It's the force part. So if you force it, you're basically saying, yes, remove all my stuff. And that is, when you do force, it generally ignores all the reference counting.
Right.
Just not in this particular case. VC readers. Yeah, but that would be permanent. Presumably you would have VC readers be permanent.
Or you should, because this scenario would not play well with that.
Yeah, well, no, it would work great. It would just take VC Redis, and a whole bunch of other things might be like, hey, where'd VC Redis go? And you're like, well, that person didn't play well with the rest of us. Yes, I mean, that's a fair point. I guess you could say someone could come along and say, hey, that's my package. And then when you force uninstall, it could just nuke it, even though, yeah.
But at the end of the day, the force uninstall was, kind of created for this kind of scenario.
It was.
And it's also something that can only happen from a BA.
Yeah, you have to explicitly get into this situation.
Yeah. I lean toward agreeing that this is incorrect behavior.
The current behavior is wrong, and that the correct behavior would be on forced that it should remove the package. Basically, ignore the dependence and then force remove it.
Yep. But it's a lean. It's not,
Yeah, I know. I go back and
clear
forth.
cut. For me, it's only because it's the force absent argument value.
Well, and I think it's more consistent if it does, in that it removes all the stuff that it said it was. It ignores dependencies and it removes it.
Yeah. And it is known to the chain.
Let's ask. We're not taking this in 6.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
It's too late to work through all of the implication. It can't drop this post RC1 and be like, hey, here's another behavior change that you never thought through on. Like, it's just
right.
We need a little more time to think through this one. Let's put a comment in there to ask for a more real world scenario that they did. Like, what are they doing to do a force absent? Like, how are they using force absent? Like, what's the real scenario here? Like, why are they using how are they using force absent? I guess that's the real questions. Why are they using force absent in this case? How they get in a situation where they thought force absent was a solution to all their problems. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
I just need a little more background to understand. I could see that these repro steps are nice and clean. I want to understand a little bit, like, how did you get in this situation that force absent was the way you wanted to get out of it? Because it is a hammer, and I'm not sure it's possible to have some other problem that we actually need to solve that shouldn't be solved with force absent. I guess that's what I'm wondering. I don't know that, but I'd like a little more detail there, I think. So let's bounce out to them. It's like, what was the scenario that led them to needing to use force absent in this case? Yeah. All right. That's just triage. You know what else we have to do? Got to move on to RC WiX 6 issues, Bob?
Sounds good.
Okay. Back to the top. Override equals no, not working certificate element. This is still Jacob's thing. I think we've just been punting this down the line. I need just Jacob to come and say, yeah, not doing that kind of thing.
The last time we talked about it, which was maybe 2 or 3 meetings ago.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't that long ago. Okay.
I think the idea was, this just never worked.
Right.
It was part, because I've been working on some certificate stuff lately. The certificate code has a whole block of commented out stuff for a scenario that sounds great, but was never implemented over the past 20 years.
Yeah.
So I'm curious whether this isn't part of that.
Yeah.
Also, the commented out stuff kind of leaked into the XSD as well. And again, that's what I'm wondering about here.
All right. Well,
it's obviously not going to happen for RC2.
Okay. Right.
I mean,
it could. Okay, you're right. All right.
I'm willing to say at this point we should punt this to be future.
Okay. Oh, I see. No change. You're saying in WiX 6, not just RC2, not in WiX 6. We're not going to do anything in WiX 6.
At at this point, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 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 All right. 7622 was a thing we lost somewhere along WiX 5 and then forgot to bring it in to WiX 6. So it's an emergency pickup of add support for non SNI SSL certificates. And Bob, you've been working on this.
Yeah, we didn't lose it. It never existed, but there was an in progress pull request
Yeah.
that had some issues. So I went ahead and did something very different.
Okay.
But yeah, pull request is out as of last night.
All right. Cool. So this will be an RC2. You know, just have to go finish the parts of getting it in RC2.
Yep.
All right. Groovy. Oh, did I? Where? No, wait. Where am I? Milestone. Oh, you brought some. Oh, okay. This list changed on me, and I was like, "What's going on?" But that's because you added these investigate things. You added the increased build per. Okay, some of these that we already talked about came back. That confused me. All right. All good. All right. 8104 icon no longer displayed in burn bundle, window title, and window taskbar for WiX 5. Yes. So this is. I've been trying to solve this, and I don't like any of the solutions that I've been coming up with to solve this. All of them have silly, subtle problems. Like the one where the straightforward thing was using the icon as a file and pulling it out. But when given the code that we have, the way we do that, it only loads a single icon image, which means it can look really funky in the taskbar and the title bar because they're different sizes. And it's just so this is.
Wait, is that because it's a file instead of a resource?
Yeah, and because we use GDI plus to load icons in ThemeViewer, it only loads one.
Yeah.
It doesn't load them as ICO, like full on ICO with all the different versions.
Bitmap from ICO.
Yes.
Oh.
So it got bigger fast, and I didn't like that approach. It wasn't my favorite to start with. So I don't have a solution for this. I don't know that I'll make it an RC2 for this one. It's really what it comes down to, because nothing's working out well. None of the code I've had is worked out well to make this happen.
The icon is still present on the bundle XE.
Yes, it's on the XE. It's just when you launch out of proc and WiX standard BA, it doesn't use it. So if you have your own custom BA, you could just toss it in there and you're good. That's fine. Right. The problem is anybody using WiX standard BA gets the WiX standard BA icon because it does not get changed, updated.
But if you're using WiX standard BA, you can apply the icon to the theme. That's supported.
Yeah, but when you do that, that's when you get a single file, a single bitmap. Because ThemeViewer will only load it using GDI plus, and you only get one icon. So there's a workaround that isn't great that I was trying to automate, basically make it just happen for people, and it turns out that it's not a great solution. So I don't know that I don't want to make that the official solution because it doesn't work well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm stuck on whether the user could come up with a good solution via theme.
They could come up with an okay solution with a custom theme and drop an icon file in there, or drop an image.
The one image.
Yeah, the one image thing.
Okay, so I don't consider that good.
Oh, okay. That's why I called it okay. I didn't say good. I said okay solution. It's like,
oh, I see. Okay.
It's better than the default. It's not the default icon, but it's not good. It's just okay.
Sorry, the reason I'm going down this route is, to a certain extent, it's like I'm fine if these are separate things. The bundle XE gets an icon because that's what shows up, typically in large icons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if a theme could give you that control over the BA, then I'd be like, oh, okay, fine, that's the way to go, and just no longer count on the bundle icon to flow to
The BA
the
icon.
BA. But
Yeah.
if CMutl doesn't, let you give real icons, then that's not.
Yeah. So I mean, it's almost like the longer solution around is to do the same thing in the BA extension that the bundle does, where I go in and swap out the resource of the BA with the icon.
Oh, that's interesting. But fraught with peril.
Well, yeah, and it's an
Now you
extension. It
have the
has to run
whole
inside the debug
signing.
processes, and the signing has to get right.
Yeah.
It's like it's like I don't like any of the solutions that I've had on this. It certainly wasn't like, oh, I could just do this and it'll work. No,
Right.
that did not do that.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. Okay.
so anyway,
Well.
we'll keep it here. I just want to bring it up as I'm a little worried about it, and maybe I'll come up with something I'm like confident we could put in RC3. In the exploration on the way to RC2, come up with something I'm confident could fit in RC3, and be stable. But
Yeah.
this one could slip. I guess is what I'm saying. This issue could slip into the future. So, and you'll have still the one workaround, which is the pick a decent icon that scales well to both your title bar and your taskbar for WiX
Yeah.
BA.
Right.
Or build your own BA. I mean, I know it's quite a chasm to jump, but that's the other way around it. So, all right, so that's 8104. Not happy news right now, but we'll see where it ends up. 8685, increased build parallelization. We talked about that. That's coming. 882, 8882, and 8902. Nope, sorry, 8882. Bob and I will talk about, which leads us to 8902. MSMQ permission things. And if I remember correctly, the last issue with this was that the PR was broken and he created a new PR and I ran it. It may still be building. I've not been through this PR. Oh, all checks have passed. All right, cool. Oh yes, this thing was failing the build server, but only on the build server again. Okay. So I need to go through and review this more. Yep. And now it fails. Yep. Okay. I need to go back and look at the changes on this, but this probably will be able to go. And it fixes the MSMQ names of some things. So it's generally good progress for those people for MSMQ. And if the tests are passing, it's not worse than what it was before. So where before it was MSMQ just doesn't work in these cases. So there's that. And much thanks to Bevan for running these down. He's interested in all these ancient technologies that I'm not interested in going into. So, all right, I will review that one. Who else is that assigned to? Oh, the guy that opened it and then Bevan. All right, cool. All right. And then here's the 8939 that goes with the 8882. And we will talk about that. And then 8941, you said you were going to take a look at it, try to get the MSI log files out of it.
Yeah.
Whew. All right, there we go. I see. Martin's like, that's me on that message queue permission thing. Cool. Is that what brings you out here today, Martin? Yeah, cool. All right. Very good, very good, very good. So that's where we're at. Things are generally looking pretty good for WiX 6 going. As we said, honestly, the biggest concern right now is the icon issue that we were talking about, 8104. And then we'll see where we end up on the 8882 with the default feature thing. So that's the state of things. Otherwise, things are moving forward. So going back to slides. Questions, comments, things people want to talk about. I put the meeting here again, March 19th at 10:30, as I called out at the beginning of the meeting. This is we will be next online meeting, March 19th at 10:30. Actually, it won't be PST anymore, a PDT, I think, because daylight savings time probably hits like March 10th or something.
I mentioned that in the last meeting highlights, actually.
Oh, did you? And see, that's what I get. I didn't read them all the way through. I just like, yeah, time. It's my fault. All right, so that'll be PDT, not PST. Because daylight savings time. Yay. All right. Things going on. Clearly, WiX 6 RC2 is the next big thing coming a week from today. Yeah, it'll be out a week from today with all these things that we've talked about. And the open source maintenance fee will be, information will be coming out about that. I know that's will generate lots of questions, comments, and probably some consternation. But we will go through that. Other things people want. I think we got Martin's thing while he showed up. We talked about his issue, 8902. Anything else? Bert and Ron have been here. It says our 6 concurrent viewers. Welcome. If you're here, feel free to say hi. Those of you that jump in the beginning, I always ask, hey, say hi. Just because it's good to know who's hanging out with us, especially if you show up regularly, because then we get to know you, and then we get to say hi to you every time. And I think we treat Bert and Ron like more special friends because they show up every week, which is definitely appreciated. Makes me feel less like I'm just talking to Bob here out and nobody else. Although we would probably still need to do triage. So there's that. All right. Well, I filled time. Haven't seen questions. Next meeting is the third Wednesday at 10:30, which in this case will be March 19th. Yeah, March 19th at 10:30. We will stabilize on the times and all that kind of good stuff. And that's all I got. Bob, you have anything else to cover?
No, my brain is pretty full after this meeting.
Yes, there was lots of things that we covered, lots of issues. But still looking okay on WiX 6, which is the primary focus for us right now. So until next meeting in 3 weeks from now, right? Because this one's late. That's why it's only 3 weeks, right? March 19th at 10:30 Pacific time, whatever it is at that time. We will be back and basically do this all again. Talk about WiX 6 and how we're finishing. So until then, you guys take it easy. Bye.
Bye.